Chair recognizes Representative Giddings to close on her amendment.
Members, I would just like to clear up a couple of things. I have been told, and I have talked to many people, that some kids get no lunch at all because that is the policy that has been adopted by their school. That may or may not be correct, but what I am absolutely positive of is the lunch is not hot. And for many children, this is the only hot lunch that they will get, or the hot meal that they will get that day. And all we are asking is for school boards to be able to set a policy so that we work with these kids. Some of these kids are not signed up for lunch, free and reduced lunch programs, and maybe through working and contacting them, they will get signed up. Maybe they're eligible. Some kids are just, their families are just above the poverty level. In some cases, families like yours and mine have simply had something catastrophic happen to them, and maybe there's only one wage earner, or maybe no wage earner. I walked out of this house the other day when we talked about the bill, and I walked into a person who was actually a lobbyist, and they didn't qualify for free and reduced lunch, obviously. She was crying because her kid had gone without lunch for 3 days. Her credit card had actually expired, and she had not reactivated her credit card. And the only reason she knew that her kid did not have lunch is because on the third day they had pizza, and her kid was upset because they didn't have pizza. It is very inhumane to go through a lunch line, select your hot meal, and then have it taken away from you and thrown into the trash. The cost has already been incurred. That simply makes no sense. Yes, I have set up a private initiative, but when I started out with this bill, it was always supposed to be a 1-2, first step here, second step was to set up this website so that people could make donations. And today, I have been told that well over $12,000 or $13,000 has been donated to that account. So when these school districts set up this grace period, what we intend to do then from the private sector is to make these grants available to these schools so that they, and I move passage.
Ms. Giddings, or Mr. Speaker,
Mr. Zedler, for what
would the gentlelady yield?
Mr. Giddings, to you for questions.
Yes, Mr.
Ms. Giddings, let me ask you this. I think the question becomes, does the elected school board have the ability to do this, do exactly what you want them to do? Do they have that ability to do it right now without us?
They do have that ability, Representative Zedler, but what we're seeing is hungry kids all over this state. I have gobs of letters and so forth. I read you the letter the last time we talked about this from Dr. Alston, who had been food insecure himself and gone and paid off accounts. We're just asking them to do this, to help these kids out for a few days, to decide what their policy is going to be and try and work with their parents. And then we've set up a private initiative to help with any costs they will incur.
And I think that's what this seems to be a lot about, is that instead of that requirement coming from Austin, maybe we should go to our own elected school boards and say, this sounds like a great policy. We want you to implement it.
That would be great in an ideal world, Representative Zedler, but this is happening to our children all over the state. Our children deserve better than this. We don't want hungry. None of us should go to sleep when there are hungry kids in this state.
Right, but they do have the ability to do it right now, right?
They do.
Yeah, thank you.
Move passage.
Members, the question occurs in the adoption of Representative Giddings' amendment. Record vote has been requested. Record vote is granted. Clerk, reading the bill. Show Representative Parker voting aye. Sure. Representative King of Hemphill voting aye. Have all voted. Voting 117 ayes and 22 nays. The amendment's adopted.